let's continue for a moment talking about the turnaround at the end of the verse and chorus, wherever you choose to use the chords we talked about in the previous video. Just as a reminder, we talked about the chromatic tenths and thirteenths, so we came down to the end of the song. And then to fill that space of time, we talked about G flat 10, F10, or E10, resolving up to the F10, like so. Okay. Now another option that we can add in, a neat little chord I learned a long time ago. It's in this instance it will be called the F augmented chord. So you take your F chord, F natural, and you have F natural, A natural, C natural, and in an augmented chord you take the fifth, which was our C, and you just simply raise it 1/2 step to the C sharp. So we have augmented, we have raised this fifth of the F chord. So it is an F augmented. And if you say F augmented, it automatically implies that the fifth scale degree, fifth chord tone is raised. So regular F chord, F augmented. Hear the difference? So here we will utilize the F augmented chord at the end of this turnaround. So one way you can do that, it would sound like this. So we've got our three notes, the F natural, A natural, C sharp in the right hand, and all I did here in the left hand was put in the F natural and then an E flat, which is the minor 7 we have been working with throughout the videos. So this is an F augmented. So you can also do it this way. So there I just utilized our E10. Which resolves up to the F chord that we talked about, and then we just created our augmented. Okay? Now a couple of other options. If you need to pause the video right here and take a break for a minute, please do so, and go back, rewind, and watch this through again. But we'll just move on to the next concept, and you can review it at your leisure. Another way to voice the F augmented is to utilize 4 fingers instead of just 3. And you can do the notes clustered here together. You can add F, you just put in the G natural, the A natural, and then your C sharp. So we had F, A, C sharp before. You can cluster the F2, which is the second chord tone, like that. Or you can take the F from below, keep your cluster, and move that F an octave up. So it changes the sound. chords. Just however you want to voice it, and you can use any combination of fingers that feel comfortable to you. That's just where I naturally land if I'm using the augmented 5 in a turnaround usually. Or you can voice it this way. So we've just taken these two notes that were here, we've taken them out and sent them up an octave. Okay. Now, one of the interesting things that about the augmented 5, and if you hear me use the word augmented 5, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the 5th chord tone, which it is. That's part of what makes the augmented chord. But in this instance, remember that we are in the key of B flat major, and this particular F chord is on the 5th note. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is the 5 of B flat, and that's why I called it an augmented 5, because this is number 5, and so we took F, A, and C, and then made the 5 augmented by raising to the F sharp. So that's where that terminology comes from. And one of the interesting things as we progress in jazz, we'll start now in subsequent videos to talk a little bit more about in-depth theory and analysis and why the chords do what they do the way that they do when you play them. One thing that I would just like to start today is taking our F augmented, and instead of just using F as the root, I would like to introduce you to sharp 1. So if F is 5, and B flat is 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay? Sharp 1 is, take a guess, 1 sharped, or raised a half step. Sharp 1. Now we have dramatically changed what we can now call this chord. We have altered from our root, which was F, in this F augmented chord, we have now moved the root here. Okay? So in jazz theory, what would we call this new chord that has a root of B natural, an F natural, an A natural, and a C sharp? Any takers? Any guesses? All right, let's look at it together. The way it is formed here, we have to analyze with B major. B major has 5 sharps. So we have to include all the sharps when we count. So B is 1, C sharp is 2, D sharp is 3, E natural is 4, F natural does not occur naturally in the key of B. It's F sharp, but the F sharp is flatted in this instance, so this is a flat 5. 1 is B, 2, 3, 4, flat 5 because it's a half step less. All right. This would be 6. G sharp would be 6, analyzing in the chord of B major, but we're using the minor 7th. Okay. B natural would be 8 because that is where we get our root from, down here. All right, so 8, and then 9 is here. And notice that that is where our F augmented comes from. Okay? So this is, in this form, a B major flat 5. It's a 9, but it's also a flat 5. This may seem very unusual to you and to your method of thinking so far. Fear not, we will address this in many videos to come and learn as we go. So let's start over again and just form a B9 flat 5. B is 1, and let's just spell a B chord. D sharp, F sharp. Sounds like a major chord to me. It certainly is. Okay? And then to make the B chord a B flat 5, we take the 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just lower it a half step. Okay, and so to complete our analysis of B 9 flat 5, we have B natural, D sharp, F natural. Remember our A natural, which is the 7th of B major. 1, 2, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, 6, 7, 8 is B natural, and 9 is the C sharp. So here's your B9 flat 5. Okay, so all of that explanation to come back to where we started with the end in mind and demonstrate so. Also move that note down. I know it's off the screen, but you can go here to the low B natural. In jazz theory and chord movement, you will often find that chords like the F or the F augmented will move around the circle of fifths, and on the way to the destination, they oftentimes will go a half step above or below the destination. Now that merely means if you came to F augmented, moving 5 down, before the 5 chord of F augmented resolves back to our home key of B flat, it can go through a 1 sharp, a sharp 1, before it actually resolves to B flat major. And now you will say, wait a minute, I've heard these jazz sounds before. And that's because you have. You just didn't know what they were. And this is one instance where it would be used. So and that's a B flat 13. And we'll talk more about that later on. But now you kind of get the feel of it. Other jazz clusters.